Alright guys, so we're here. I wanted to do a couple reviews or a couple talk about on washers, especially top loads. We're going to do some in front loaders as well. And this is the LG top load, and I'm going to do my own rating, and this is from a technician's standpoint. So LG's front load, excellent, probably one of the best front loaders you'll get. So the most issues I have with top loads are the transmissions going out. Other than that, I can say they're pretty good. Shocks sometimes go, but other than that, I have no problem with them. They're pretty reliable. Not as good as their front loader, but so I would probably rate scale 1 to 10, probably like a 7 on their top load. So dryers are pretty much straightforward. There's no issues with dryers. Most dryers are going to be reliable. There's one that I will say I'm not a big fan of, just not heavy duty. If you want the model number, I think it's on the back somewhere. Yep, there it is. So that's that for LG. So this is GE's newest dryer, and of course dryers are somewhat okay, pretty benign. Even though they say their older model does have some issues with the high limit going out, and I'm going to assume that this one has the same. I have not worked on this one yet, but giving the drum, it looks like everything's going to be the same. There's the model number on that. So other than that, their dryer's pretty okay. That's what it looks like. The washer, I would probably say I have not worked on this one yet, so I don't know how well they are, but given the size of the drum, I'm going to say, transmission failure prematurely. The bigger the drum, the bigger the issues. If you want to have a good machine, stay away from those large drums, and that's what they're selling. So the bigger the drum, they think it's better the machine. No, it's not. They have redesigned their lid switch, which is better. The other models were lid switch issues and transmission issues. So we'll see on this one. I have not worked on it yet, so I can't really give it a grade. But we shall see. Now this is the dryer that I was talking about. You get about 4 years, sometimes 2 out of it, and it just stops. It does not work, so you have to change the high limit. You gotta remove the drum to actually do a good job. You can sometimes fight with it and do it over the top, but another issue with these, those knobs, this is not brand new machine, and if you look closely, it looks like the knob already is cracked right down there on each side. And what happens, you try to turn and the knob is broken in the center, so it does not turn. So just another weak point on these dryers. Not a big fan of them, so not really rating dryers too much. They're pretty benign, but any dryer I wouldn't do is that dryer. Moving on to the washer, I'm not a big fan of this. At least they've changed the lid switch, which is great. It's a better design, so I'll give them that. Transmission, you see transmission go on these a lot. The agitator is pain in the to remove. So not a big fan of GEs, unfortunately. Back in the day, GE used to be great, no problem there. So scale 1 to 10, about a 5 on this particular machine. There's the dryer, and of course this is the lid switch one. This particular one, model number there. This is the one with the lid switch. lid switch issue, usually 3 years, 2 years, and the lid switch goes. Shocks on these aren't too bad. I've noticed the shocks are pretty good on GE, so I can't knock them on that, but transmission is definitely a problem. And this guy, Medea, dryers are normally pretty straightforward. I have worked on their dishwashers, had major issues. I have not worked on this yet. I heard the dryers are okay. Haven't heard anything about the washers at this point. So this company is based out in China, and they actually supply GE with parts. So it is their own company, but they do a lot of GE's parts. So I'm sure they have similar parts, and so I can't really give it a grade, but we'll see how they do. But I would wait to see how they do. Obviously, you got a huge drum, and that's another drawback that they do. You start increasing the size of the drum without the transmission, then you're just asking for trouble. So we shall see on that one. So no grade for him, but since they're China, it's hard to say. All right. So we have Whirlpool, and this particular Whirlpool is the newest. I will say they have redesigned their tub. Excellent tub. Their drivetrain on this is superior. It's a stator design. So very robust, very good. Only problem I've run into is the board. Premature failure on the board. So other than that, I can't really say too much. Get a surge protector, 1,000 joule, plug your machine in, and that will protect your board from getting fried. So this is a pretty good machine. If you can protect the board, it's very good. The older units, the drum would separate, and I think we still have some here. I'll probably get to those in a minute, but this is a pretty good machine. Not a big fan of the huge drum, but that's what everybody's making. You don't have a lot of choice. I'm not talking about options. That's not my thing. I'm just talking about longevity and how well they're designed. They do have heavy duty shocks on this particular model, so but Whirlpool shocks are still not the best. You get about 4 or 5 years out of them. Still not bad if that's the only problem. All right. Moving on. Basic dryer. You can't go wrong with these. For the money, it's not bad. They work. They last. It's fine. Basic dryer, just easy when you close the door. Other than that, for the money, totally fine. Washer, Amana, but it's Whirlpool. It's a basic. Drum is not too big. So what you want to do on these, you're going to get about maybe 4 years out of the shocks, and then they start bouncing and slapping around crazy. So other than that, they're pretty basic. They do have a shifter, which goes bad sometimes, but scale 1 to 10, this machine is probably about a 5 or 6. I mean, for the value, maybe even a 6. So not bad, not the best, because you're getting about 5 years out of it. I mean, so that's my rating on it. There's a model number. Oh, I don't think I gave this a rating. Other than that, if you get your surge protector on this machine, I'd probably give this machine a 7. Okay? I like them. I think they're pretty good. Their weak point is up there, the board. All right. And of course, Whirlpool dryer. The only thing I have to say about this dryer is the timer goes bad and the dryer just stays running. Other than that, it's a pretty good dryer. Again, a little bit better than the basic one, but really everything is the same, just a larger capacity. It is Roper Whirlpool. So Whirlpool. Thought I said Roper. Other than that, pretty good. And again, same thing here. Same shocks, same setup. You're gonna get about 5 years use out of these, and then you gotta replace the shocks. And this is Whirlpool's newest. So far so good on these. I've not had any problems. I think these have triple rollers in the back, so they're pretty heavy duty. Large drum, and probably same element, I think. So, so not too bad. Obviously, dryers are pretty robust. So we're not going to do a rating on dryers. You know, they work. And again, this is the newest of Whirlpool, and it's a 2-in-1 agitator. I do like this option where you can actually remove the agitator, and you just have a pulsator. Pretty cool. I do like that. And again, they have upgraded their drivetrain, the drum, so it's a pretty robust combination. So if the board stays good, then I would say it's a pretty good machine. And we shall see how they do. So far, so good, Whirlpool. And of course, this particular unit, again, same Whirlpool as the one we just talked about. Same board, same situation. Just have the 2-in-1. So we're fine there. Same thing there. And of course, same thing there, just different color. So let's talk Samsung. Okay, it's a Samsung top load and huge drum. And I'm a big fan of most Samsung top load washers. Not bad. They're not bad at all. This particular unit, here's a model number. All I've ran into is suspension rods needing to be changed. That's it. They're pretty hardy, and most of them 5 years, 6 years, and you got to change the rods. Maybe it's a conspiracy, but other than that, I think they're pretty good units. Massive drum, not a big fan of it. You know what happens when you have a big drum. And of course, same model, just with the agitator. So if I had to choose between the agitator and the no agitator, I would choose the ones with the agitator. You can stuff it less. So I'm a big fan of that. We already talked about LGs. This one has the agitator. So if you want to increase your life of your machine, get the ones with the agitator. You stuff it less. So other than that, LG is okay. Oh, I did not give, I'm sorry if I missed any of the rating, guys. I think, yeah, I would probably give this one I'd probably rate this probably around a 7 as well. It's a pretty good machine, maybe 7.5. I'm a big fan of them. You don't have any failures with transmission or anything like that. Pretty hard. I did notice they were, instead of the metal agitator, now they have plastic, so we'll see how that one does. Usually they actually start stripping out on you, so we shall see how they do on that. So about a 7 on this. I like that machine a lot. And of course, this is the same machine, same motor, same everything, just different color. And again, Samsung. And so not bad at all. For when you get, pretty good. Excellent machine. I'm a big fan of Samsung, I really am. I won't say. Now we have this is a GE stack, and that's the dryer. My opinion on these stack units, you know, if you don't have to get them, don't, because one portion goes, you have to replace both, or you're forced to fix. So transmission, you can't just change the transmission on these, you have to replace the entire assembly, because it's very difficult to remove just a transmission. They're frozen together, you can't. It gets very expensive. So longevity wise, again, it depends on how much you load these things and how you treat them. I've seen these gone in 5 years. on the transmission. So so if I were to scale this, I'd probably say if you treat it good, one person, don't overload them, you'll get some use out of it. So but scale 1 to 10 based on that, probably 6 or so. You do have a okay dryer. Again, it has the same height limit thermostat, which goes, but the dryers seem to be pretty again, most dryers are pretty good. So if you don't have to get a stacked laundry center, I would, unless it's an LG. LG's been pretty efficient. So there's a model number, and that's GE. So we are going to talk about front loaders. All right, guys. So this is Whirlpool's. Okay, yes, it's Maytag, and again, a couple drawbacks on this machine. It's a pretty good machine, good sized drum. Couple things to look out for when you look at a design on the machine. Okay, you see how the drum is straight. Okay, you want a drum that is tilt back somewhat. Okay, that's how you get your longevity out of your machine. Here's the model number. I'm not a total big fan of this machine. I mean, so far they're pretty reliable. They will cost you a little more to do repairs. One thing I noticed they don't have, if you notice at the bottom, you don't have a area for your pump. Now in this machine, the pump sits somewhere right there, okay, right in that area, and you can't drain your pump without taking off the entire front. Okay, so other than that, not a big fan of that. But the machine itself is not bad. I wish the drum was tilted back somewhat more, but I haven't had any bad results with this particular machine so far. So I can't give it a bad rating. But Whirlpool in general, with this Maytag, has always been pretty good at front loaders. So, you know, if I had to rate this, I can't. It's so far it's a good machine. So it's probably a good, 8. So it's a good machine. Dryer is pretty straightforward. Model number, and of course, basic Whirlpool. Again, this drum, again, you can see how the drum sits. I wish Whirlpool would put it back just a little bit more. And again, pretty basic. This one is pretty basic Whirlpool. And I would say this is a pretty good machine. Again, does not have the access port to do any maintenance at all. So straightforward. It's going to cost you a little more to have a technician to come out to service anything gets caught in the pump. So that's one drawback if I had to. In fact, I would not like that as much, and that would take away from my overall grade on it. So I'm not a big fan of that. So maybe even a 6, including that, just because of usability. Same on that. Same thing, same motor. And of course on this one, and if you're going to do a stack unit, you're better off get 2 machines like this, and you just stack them. You can stack them all the way up. That's your best bet instead of doing a laundry center. So we have Samsung front loader. I've never been, I can't say never been, but Samsung have had their issues with their front loaders, and some of their issues they have is back there. It's called your spider, and it tends to separate, so you end up with a interior drum being loose and falling apart, and that's very, very important. That's basically the end of your machine. Very expensive to fix. I've done quite a few, but a lot of times it's not even worth it. Good points that they have is right there. Whirlpool needs to get that. Haven't done it yet. They need to do it, and so you can actually clean your pump if anything gets caught in there. Now, people hate front loaders because of the mold and whatnot. But all you have to do to mitigate that is just leave your door open, and you won't have that mold issue. So Samsung has, been a lot better. So in some machines, I've seen front loaders go 7 years, but that's very short. It should be longer than that. So the newer ones seem to be okay. So we'll see how they do. But I don't know. So far, these are good. So I would say these are probably a good 6 or around there. So it's not a 10. We don't have any 10 machines here. Maybe 9. We'll see. All right, Samsung. Of course, their dryers the same. Basic Samsung, same motor. LG stack. This is probably one of the units I'd probably recommend. Very, very robust and reliable. I'm a big fan of LG. So you won't go wrong buying one of these. To be honest, LG is just excellent machines. Excellent. And you do have your access point, which is great. You do need that. One less thing to worry about. So there's the model number. And this is GE. Horrible bearings. Their bearings on these units, I'd say 5 years and they're out. Could either be from people overloading them, but I'm not a big fan of this particular unit. There's a model number. So this is probably a 5 on my scale. At least they give you a pump access there, which is good. So that's that on that. That's the price. Same thing on this. And this is the laundry center, LG, the large one. So another great unit. I would definitely recommend that. Now, moving on to this, one of the worst machines that GE actually came up with would be this one here. Now, a couple good points on it would be this. They have the fan in the door and the microband, which is great. So I'll have to give them credit for that. Excellent. There's a model number. If you can see the massive drum. And of course they have the vent hole there. And part of their design, which is horrible, is they do have a nice tilt, which I do like, but their bearings back there does not last. I've seen these gone in 4 years, okay, because people stuff them, okay, and their shocks very, very weak. So the drum starts shaking, and what ends up happening, you have weights. So you have a massive weight, concrete weight, right around this point on the left, and you do have up top as well. But what happens when the machine starts shaking, you can actually separate that concrete block, and you end up with a massive flooding in your house. So, not a big fan. Scale 1 to 10, this machine gets about a 4 or a 5. Horrible. Bad design. Same thing there. Alright, so we have LG. I don't think I talked about LG. LG is one of the best front loaders you will find, hands down. If you notice the tilt, you see how the drum tilts back, okay? Excellent machine. There's a model number. Most LGs you're gonna get 10 years straight use before any issues or anything occur. Just excellent machine. Just make sure you keep the door somewhat open when you're done. But other than that, I can't say enough about this machine. Hopefully continue to do as they have in the past. Most machines that I work on, LG, usually just a pump issue. And replace the pump, water valve, sometimes the water valve starts dripping. But that's after 7 or 10 years. I mean, they're just good machines. Excellent machine. We actually have this particular set. So I love LG. They're just superb. Haven't worked on mine yet. And I've had them for the older models, actually, probably 10 years. So excellent machines, guys. And again, LG. So LG gets about a 9 or 10. It really is. It's a great machine. All right, I think I've covered everybody. It's long enough. So let me do one quick walk over here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't think I talked about this one. It's very similar to the Whirlpool, and most issues I have with this guy is the board going dead. Very similar to that one over there. And the board goes out and you have no power. So if that happens, replace the board. Again, same transmission, robust, pretty good unit. So far, so good. All right. So this is Maytag commercial, right? Pretty good unit, pretty good unit. Every component in this machine is, the dryer is very similar to the other components. Same switch, so pretty close to what you're gonna get, but on the washer, it is heavier components. The shocks are heavier duty. The drum is a little bit bigger than the traditional ones, but pretty good transmission. So if you were to get a Whirlpool, you would definitely be better off with, it is a heavy duty transmission and not a bad machine. Obviously, Speed Queen, if I were to include anybody in top loads, it would be Speed Queen, which is, you know, superb. But Maytag commercial, I'll give you a little bit of history. If you, back in the day, before Appliances actually bought the right to Speed Queen, Amana, which was Maytag back in the day, Amana and Speed Queen came off the same assembly line, so they're basically sisters. I tell people that Speed Queen is old Maytag reborn. A little history there. So yes, Speed Queen is just excellent machines. You can't kill them. They're just heavy duty. They're made to last. Washing clothes is a lot of work, and they actually require heavy duty parts to do the job properly. It's a long video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, got something out of it. This is another machine from Whirlpool. Okay, not too bad. You know, another 5 or 6. So yeah, I would probably rate this machine around a 7. It's a pretty good heavy duty machine. All right. Here's the model number. All right, guys, let me know what you think. All right, thanks for watching.